for free. You want me to hold your coffee.
A dream come true and an honor, and get to be young actors working with a master of cinema at his peak. That's the dream come true. So we didn't take it for granted for a second, and I think we showed up overprepared because we did not want to get this wrong.
He's an extraordinary filmmaker, and I don't know how he's able to fit so much in his brain at once, because there's so many pieces and so many moving parts to this and so much to think about, while also remaining true and keeping the integrity of these really, really loved and cherished books. I don't know how he does it, but I am truly, truly grateful to be a part of it somehow. I would shadow him and just watch him work for free. You want me to hold your coffee? Like, whatever you need. I just want to, learn from you and be a part of your creative world.
Paul's a young man who already has a certain pressure on his shoulders to one day be the ruler of the House Atreides, inherit that position from the Duke Leto, who's played by Oscar Isaac. And towards the very beginning of the film, based on the prophecy of the Bene Gesserit and the scene of the Gom Jabbar, which if you haven't read the book, that literally meant nothing right now. He's put on this path that was not predestined for him, was predestined for a young woman, and is on a journey to see whether he can right what's wrong in the universe and right what's wrong on planet Arrakis, on Dune.
Well, I think that's the cool thing about, unless you've read the books, of course, this first film, is we don't know what her significance is. She kind of is just this figure in his visions and his dreams, and we don't know if she's good, we don't know if she's bad, we don't know if she's evil, we don't know her intentions, or if she's gonna, mark the beginning of a life or the end of one. So I think that's the exciting part, right? Is there's kind of apprehension on both sides, because to her he's an outworlder, he's someone who's just part of a greater kind of establishment that has never been good to her or her people, and to him, he's seen this person and knows that there's a great significance there, but does not know why. And that's what he's constantly trying to figure out. So yeah, there's so much story left to tell. I sure hope we get the chance to, because I know I would deeply enjoy that and love to live with these characters for a longer amount of time, because there's so much cool stuff to do.
There is no call we do not answer. There is no faith that we betray. House Atreides, accept!
House Atreides is the house in which everything else in the universe situates itself around, whether as an enemy, as a friend, or as something to be looked up to.
Nice.
They're basically leading the way in consciousness, in what is possible for humans as far as true nobility. And so that's why they are a threat, and they are basically set on a path to destruction.
Well, Jessica, who belongs to this incredible sisterhood, the Bene Gesserit, who, I don't like saying manipulate the outcome of the universe, but in a grander scale, they do, to create bonds between families and links that we kind of have done in centuries, since medieval times, really, the plotting of the household. And she rebels against her orders from the Reverend Mothers and creates chaos. And then throughout, she then has to juggle the consequences of her decisions, of creating something out of love, of something that her Duke has asked for, a son, and also her belief. And now she has to protect and train that asset to survive the dangers that is upon him.
Duke Leto is the Duke of the House of Atreides, and he is a doomed figure. The moment you're reading it, everyone's saying, this man's doomed, this man's doomed. There's something that I find quite moving about that, just as a human, where we all know that we're doomed. The big question is not, is how do you live, right? Not even why, but how. And I think that's what he's most concerned with. How do we move forward? How do we keep bettering ourselves? How do I point the way for my son?
It's really lovely, actually. I hadn't thought about it. You are so the relatable character. It's not that you don't have the extraordinary powers,
no, but he doesn't.
But you don't, and that is the humbling, wonderful, sort of relatable aspect of your character. And together, I think that dynamic for Paul, as this sort of the journey of this boy, the foundations for him, these two.
Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet so exquisitely, is along for the ride with his family to this new planet Arrakis. You know, he's trying to make sense of it for himself. He's coming into himself as a young man. And of course, I'm saying this all through Duke Leto's perspective, because there's a much bigger plan that I feel in some ways my character turns a blind eye towards, because he knows that he has nothing to add to that. All he can do is instruct them in what he knows, which is humanity. And
do you think there's jealousy in that? Do you think there's a sort of an outside part of that between Jessica?
Yeah, I think that there's this kind of thing where it's like, I don't want to know about that. I'm not interested in that, you know, because I have nothing to add to that, and I don't even know if I believe it, you know? So there is this complexity, and all these things are hinted at and explored even with a look or a gesture or one line. And it's amazing, I think, to Denis' credit, that he really serves to tease out those moments.
Timothy is an extraordinary actor. From the moment that I was a part of this journey, just meeting Denis and talking about the film, and then him telling me later on that he didn't offer up the information that it was Timothée Chalamet playing for. It was more down to the story. It wasn't a selling point for him, which I have to say to his credit. And then when I found out, there was such a wave of excitement for me, because I think I've seen all of Timothée's films. So to be on the receiving end of his way of working and being, as he said, we were a safety net for him to be able to throw himself into different emotions and a new journey for him. This was a new experience for him. And to be there with him and see him not develop, we all develop. He was wonderful, and I know it's a cliche, but when you work with great people, it makes you want to deliver new characteristic traits for yourself and your characters.
Working with him was such a dream come true. I've known him for a while, and we've talked many times about the possibility. It'd be great to work together one day, and the fact that it finally came to pass in this way was so great. And I remember the very first scene I had to do was walking off the ship. That was my first day.
Was that your first?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, that was my first day walking off the ship with you and Stephen McKinley Henderson and Timmy and Roland, and
wow.
And so, you know, it's a lot. I think you guys had already been shooting for quite a few weeks.
Yeah.
And, you know, getting this armor put on and walking down in this grand way. And right after I did it,
the side pipe.
Yeah, with the bagpipe thing. And then he just came up to me and said, "You're a king. I've never seen this from you, but I saw a king." You know, and he just knows how to infuse his passion into you, so that you become just as passionate. And I just found it such a moving, beautiful thing to do, and to be able to work with someone like that.
The compliments he pays you is sometimes I feel like I can take on board as a compliment, but it feels like a compliment back to him, because I feel like I've done him justice. Yeah. I've given him what he wants and what he has wanted since he was young. It's such a interesting ongoing conversation, which I love about this film in general. Women empowerment, equality. I mean, there's so many topics here that I hope when people see the film, it just activates and generates conversation. But, it was written in 1960s. Frank obviously had his vision of what a social norm was and where women stood in the hierarchy of life's setting. And it was yet ahead of its time. He was the one who wrote of the Bene Gesserit, about this empowering state of manipulating thought and the brains behind it all. But yet they always stand in the shadows. They're not allowed to break free, really. But this is Denis' thought, I think, was to heighten it and to bring them into the rooms, not literally into the powerful rooms. That's going too far. But also, it's not really going too far. It's not the story. You can't change the outcome of a story that we are telling. If everything was equal, we wouldn't have anything to fight against in this story. 别忘了订阅我们的频道，打开小铃铛就不会错过任何精彩内容，随时上架。我们下回再见。